Target acquired. Dispensing product.
What's going on, everybody? Ed here, and today we're going to be looking at another Transformer. This time it is Deluxe Class Fall of Cybertron Sideswipe. In my continuing hunt to find all of the Deluxe classes and, well, all of the Fall of Cybertron Transformers that have been released, I finally stumbled across one of these at Walmart. So I was really happy that I found this guy and I could finally pick him up. And anybody who has played the game knows Sideswipe is not a playable character, but he still has a role in the game, which is really cool. He had a cameo. Even if you don't get to play as him, it's still an excuse to make a toy of him and have it, like, viable, I guess. Sideswipe is the pilot of the ship that Jazz and Cliffjumper are on before they're dropped into the Energon place or whatever. You play as Jazz and Bumblebee, or Jazz and Cliffjumper in this level, and Sideswipe is just kind of flying the ship that drops you off and picks you up, and you don't even get to see his whole body, just mainly his chest, arms, and head, and he speaks a little bit. I'm not really sure who his voice actor is, but ironically enough, in the same level as Jazz, this toy is actually a remold repaint of the Fall of Cybertron Jazz, which I have right here. Now, a lot of people complained about Jazz because his head is way too shrunk into the body, and with that I completely agree, because look at him. His head is just so dipped in there. And I was really disappointed to hear that Sideswipe was a repaint of him, because, well, I did not like how Jazz turned out, because his head is so derped in there. His legs are also really thin compared to how he is in the video game, but that's alright. But if you look at the two of them and look at Sideswipe as compared to Jazz, Sideswipe is a lot cooler. His head actually sticks out a lot more. He just seems to own the mold, while the two of them share the mold. Usually when Transformers, even similar, or characters that previously did not have a similar body type at all, like these two, some Transformers, when they share the mold, actually work it better than the other ones. For example, Wheeljack and Trax from the Generations RTS line. Trax is a much better figure than Wheeljack, but they still share the exact same mold, only with a few minor differences in design. The first thing that's different, obviously, is the huge chest, bust, breastplate, whatever you want to call it. Is completely different. Besides the weapons, I'm talking about like what's actually on the figure. The heads are completely different, obviously, and that's a good thing. And also on the back here, Jazz has more of this racer type body, while Sideswipe actually has this bigger panel that juts out and lets you push the head up quite a bit. This part right here. So that was a definite improvement on the design. I'm not really sure what made them choose to repaint and redo the same body type, but I'm not complaining. I really like how they turned out. Sideswipe definitely owns this mold, so if you have the chance to get either one of them, get Sideswipe. Unless you really like Jazz, then you can get Jazz, but I really, really like Sideswipe. And Jazz, well, being one of the first Transformers in the Fall of Cybertron line to be released, I guess he's viable to have some bugs and stuff, but they definitely made up for it and fixed it when they did Sideswipe, because he's just an incredible mold of the toy. Now you can see his head is really prominent right there. It's molded kind of almost creepily. Zoom in there a bit. Come on. There we go. Just kind of has this ghostly, as my friend Sebastian said, yowie look on his face. But it's just, I don't know. There's something about this toy that I just really like, and maybe it's this huge weapon, which I'll get to in a little bit, but overall he's really nice. So, I've rambled on for long enough, let's look at some articulation. So his head is on a ball joint, his arms will rotate here, and watch out for these. I've heard a lot of people that can actually break this off because of the plastic in there. You get a rotation here at the upper part of the arm, a joint at the elbow. Hands are on ball joints, and they just kind of fold in. ball jointed here, the knees bend, and the toes, this entire thing will move down like on a ratchet, but it's really, really hard to, and you move it for transformation purposes. But yeah, that's about it. No waist articulation or anything. That's alright, because a lot of the Transformers from this line do or don't have it. And let's move on to his gigantic gun thing. And I believe this was modeled after one of the heavy weapons in Fall of Cybertron, because you can get very big guns like this. So I believe this was modeled after either the Scatter Blaster or something of the sorts. But overall, it's a huge freaking gun. And the cool thing is, you can put this gun on a lot of the other Transformers from this game, or really any Transformer in general, and it looks really cool because, I mean, look at that thing. It's fantastic. But it really makes me wonder why they gave such a minor character a huge gun like that. It would have seemed more accurate to give him like a pistol or some sort of generic machine rifle rather than this huge freaking heavy weapon. But it does look good on some of the other Transformers, so I'm not going to complain. So, let's take a look at Sideswipe's amazing alternate mode. And here we have Sideswipe in his alt mode, which I'm not going to lie, is pretty freaking cool. Here we have a comparison of Jazz, again, sharing the same mold and everything. I just really like Sideswipe's more. I think Jazz has a better way of hiding the hands for some reason, because of the spoiler. But, I don't know, maybe it's the red, maybe it's just this sleek design that looks... It looks like a car. Well, Jazz's is just like... It's a car, yeah, but there's no windows, there's no anything. It's just kind of got this odd top on it. It just doesn't make sense to me, almost. But Sideswipe, I don't know. Sideswipe just looks like Sideswipe. He's got that twin white racing stripe look. There are a couple gaps in him that, for some reason, I just can't get rid of when I transform him. But they're there. Whatever. But, yeah. I mean, I really like both toys, but I really, really dig Sideswipe's colors. And, of course, as with all the Transformers, you can take his heavy weapon and plug it right into the side there. So now he's a tank of sorts, I guess. He's got almost a sidecar of this gun. Also, you can push the gun barrel in like that. I'm not sure if that's how he's supposed to have it in his alt mode, but that's an option. So yeah. As for my final thoughts on Swipe, he's alright. He's one of the lesser liked molds of mine for the Fall of Cybertron line, but he's still really pretty cool. Again, I like him over the Jazz mold, but I wouldn't knock Jazz down because you can actually play as Jazz in the game. And that kind of makes you want to buy Jazz more, while Sideswipe is only seen for a couple seconds as one of the pilots and only has a few lines. Also, it's kind of confusing that they gave him such a big weapon, but again, I'm not complaining because you can use the big weapon on pretty much any other Transformer and make it look really badass. I'm going to give Sideswipe a 7 out of 10 on the Ed scale. He's a pretty decent toy. I wouldn't pay $15 for him like they have him at Walmart. I'd wait and try to find him on the internet somewhere later on once the prices go down. But, meh, it's something to have. It's fun, and if you're trying to collect the entire line, snag him up. Really trying to find Starscream and Kickback and Air Raid, and also the Soundwave, Soundwave's Blaster, all them, but hopefully I'll find those in the near future. But anyway, guys, if you're a fan of Sideswipe, snag this toy. So that's about it, and I'll see you all next time.